Hi, this is János, it's Real World Audio, and I'm doing another video on treating paper cone drivers with the Minvex wood hardener. And here now I'm going to show you how does it work. So you take that Minvex wood hardener, put it in a little bottle and take off any protection from your speakers if there's any, and use a small brush to apply it. So you will see me applying it. First I just clean off any fluff or any hairs and dust from the cone, and then we'll apply the stuff on it. And meanwhile you are watching me doing it, I'm going to reflect a little bit more on this treatment. When do you need to do it and when you don't want to do it, and what are the consequences of either doing it or not doing it. And thank you, Hugo, for your comment on the previous video, and I'm going to quote from your comment because you mentioned a few very important facts, and let's see. So what he wrote is that I would like to add my personal thoughts on this. Only do this when it is needed. So I completely agree on that. If your driver doesn't need any treatment, don't do it. So if you just want to make it sound better, then just do not, because it will not sound better than how it does now. What it will do, because you are applying a resin and depositing extra material into the paper cone, it will make your cone heavier, and that will change its characteristics. So it will have different tone, different behavior. Whether it's better or worse than your current one, we can never tell. It will be based on your actual loudspeaker, case by case. Application would make the sound either better or worse, but it's totally subjective. For you it may sound worse, and for another person exact same thing, the change might be better for their preferences. So don't do this. This is not like an upgrade option. This is something to save a driver such as the one I'm working on, which is like a 50 to 70 year old paper cone. That's something that might need attention, it might not need an attention. If you are at most part of the world where let's say you have like an old Altec driver like this that I'm working on now, that has always been protected from UV, protected from sunlight, then you will most likely never need to do this application. However, if you live in a climate like I do in Hawaii, and there's like extreme sun, and then sunlight coming in, and the UV damages the paper cone and will make it fall apart over time. And you can visually track the UV damage to your paper cone by seeing that it changes color over time from the black color to a grayish whitish color. And when you see that it has turned like a very light gray, almost whitish gray, then that's a sign that the paper cone is degrading to a degree that it will need this help. If you don't do that, if I haven't done this to my driver, probably it would work for another 5 years or so, and then it would just start falling apart and it would need reconing. And in this case, this is not just a simple paper cone, so this is not what you get today as paper cone drivers. These Altec 515s have something which is more like an air foam. It's like a very fluffy cone. It's a really special paper. It's not like you just get an A4 size paper sheet or a letter size sheet and then you make a cone out of it. No, this is something truly that had a very serious design process and a lot of thought going to it to make it happen. And it might be more difficult to find a replacement cone. And or if there's some, it will probably not likely exact same as this is, although anyway we could debate whether Great Plains audio supplies, their cones are the exact same as the ones that were made 70 years ago. Yes, they will fit in size. Are they the same tone, same sound? I don't know. I never reconned any of my drivers with GPA cones, so I am the wrong person to ask about that. Others might have more experience with that. If you do, please comment. I would welcome it very much. And other than that, what I can recommend is that I need to pause a little. I'm sorry, I had to pause the recording there, so now I'm trying to continue my train of thought where I left off. So anyway, it is preferable to save the cone that you already have, and that's the exact point of my video, is that there's absolutely no need to replace your cone on a driver that's 50 to 70 years old. You can save it from total decrepitude. And this is why I'm doing this and sharing this with you. I'm not sharing this that you have a 5-year-old driver and go up and paint it up, because that's a really bad idea. You can try it out if you have multiple drivers, and you might actually like the how it will sound, because as you apply more wood hardener on it, actually the cone will be heavier, so the self-resonant frequency will be lower than what it was for the original driver, and the cone will be more rigid, so you will have less cone breakups. So you will have a noticeable improvement in the bass response, in the quality of the bass response. However, because of the added weight, it will lose efficiency. So this is where your mileage may vary, and you might find it either worse or better depending on your actual implementation of your loudspeaker, how things are at the moment. And so you are saying that, you could say that, oh János, now you are busting up your Altec driver because now you are making it less efficient than it was. However, as the cone ages naturally over half a century or more, it because of the natural break-up process, it does lose some of its weight, so the cone becomes lighter over time, and by applying wood hardener on it, it actually becomes more similar to how it originally was. So actually that's why it's a pretty decent idea how to restore the cone to how it was half a century ago. And what I did with my other Alnico driver, the oval shape, that's also something that's half a century old, and that one was actually even more gone than this 515 driver. That one really looked like, if I don't do that treatment this year, it wouldn't have survived another year, because the whitening, the loss of color compared to last year was just staggering that I experienced. So coming back here, let's continue with Hugo's sharing. Very related to this, expect some change in the sound. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. So apart from what I just told about now, about the impact on bass, impact on the efficiency, what I experienced after doing this treatment on the cone, because I'm publishing this video now, but this is the 3rd of January when I'm making this video, and when I did the painting of the cone, that was, I think, the last day of the old year, so December 31st 2023. This is how I finished my year. So since then I had 3 days of listening to the speakers with the treated cones, and I can share that during the first day the sound was very muted. and a lot of detail was gone, and it really felt that I have lost a lot of efficiency compared to the compression driver. So the bass became much less prominent, although it became quite a bit tighter, noticeably tighter than what it was before. And as the wood hardener dried, because this substance that I apply with the brush is actually there are these chemicals that are the resin that is in a solvent, and as I apply it, the resin stays, and over time the solvent evaporates. Most of the evaporation occurs right in the next couple seconds as you apply the stuff on the paper cone, but it does take several days, even longer, depending on the humidity. It can be a shorter or longer process. Here I have high humidity, and it takes several days for me until it completely dries. And I think now, I don't, even though this is the third day after painting, and I think it still has not completely dried yet, but it's kind of dried already. And what I noticed that now, yesterday actually, that was the second, like 48 hours after applying the stuff, I already noticed that the efficiency came back, the detail level came back, and the bass remained tighter, sound cleaner, and even more alive than it was before. So once the stuff dries, there's not that much extra weight added to the cone. Of course, it also depends how many layers of paint you add to your cone. Now what I could do is I could repeat the process as many times as I wanted, and each time the weight of the cone increases slightly. And you could actually tune your driver based on that. Like you could like paint a layer, wait a week for it to dry completely, listen to it, and then wait another week and add an additional layer, wait a week, listen to that, and you could repeat it as many times as you want. However, you will find that after a while the results are getting worse and worse as the cone is getting heavier and heavier, and you are losing efficiency and frequency extension due to the heavier cone. And that's why I recommend trying out how many layers you can do if you want to do this based on the perspective of tweaking the sound. If you have multiple pairs of drivers and you have the luxury to sacrifice a pair by over treating it, because once you have added these treatments, I cannot tell you a way how to remove the added wood hardener from the paper cone, because it's already deposited in there and sort of burning up the paper or treating it with harsh chemicals. There's no way to remove it. So that's my suggestion about it. And as Hugo shared with us, if you have a driver that you want to resell, that you use for profiteering, then do not just treat it, because it's most likely going to lose a lot of value. Nobody wants to get a driver that's been fiddled with by someone. People want to have the original stuff, untouched, unfluffed. If you do anything with it, it's going to decrease the value of that driver. And even though if you have done it properly, it would probably sound better and would last the purchaser 20-30 years longer compared to not treating it, but the purchaser is not conscious of these facts. He only knows that you treated, you fiddled with the driver, you messed with it, it's not in original condition anymore. And yes, I would be leery as well because treating the driver, the person might treat it improperly, and if any of the wood hardener leaks into the voice coil, that ruins or compromises the driver, and I don't want to take that chance to get a compromised driver, and rather buy a pair that hasn't been tampered with. So I exclusively recommend this mod if you do it for yourself, for the specific reason of extending the life of your ancient paper cone Alnico or non-Alnico or ferrite drivers. And so that's about it. And if you want to do it for tweaking purposes, only do it if you have multiple pairs of drivers, or if you don't want, you are not afraid to sacrifice that pair of drivers, and then you can apply a layer and then see what the difference is compared to the untreated state, and then you can wait a week, apply one more layer, and then see how far you can take it. Is there an optimal number of layers to apply? And usually if you just want to elongate the life, extend the lifespan, and just add a reasonable amount of additional rigidity to the cone to prevent cone breakups, one layer is enough, and it's not going to change the parameters of the driver substantially once it has dried up. The two big change, actually there will be three big changes. Number one, visual change. Your driver cone will look black again, jet black, as if it was new. And if you don't do a good job, it will be like spotty. Some parts will be blacker than others, shinier than others, and as it ages, the differences will be less and less. But depending on your skills, it might look awesome or really shoddy. That's up to you and your skill level. Number two, you will have less cone breakups and thereby cleaner sounds. And number three, it will be slightly heavier than before, so it will be slightly deeper, richer tone, and slightly lower efficiency. And once you let it dry properly, the efficiency loss will be probably negligible. So thank you for bearing with me. Have a wonderful day and enjoy tweaking your or restoring your old ancient paper cone drivers. Have an amazing day. Bye bye.